Hello, fans. Welcome to another episode of the Bleed Blue Recruiting Podcast. As always, I am your host, Anthony Broom. Joining me again this week is the founder of BBR, Kyle Gill. Kyle, how are you?
Excellent. It's been quite a rush the last few days. Getting in touch with some of the upcoming 2014 guys looking to fill out that class. And I graduated from high school Friday, so just trying to get all that out of the way so I can bring you guys a bit more content.
Exciting time for you guys, and just enjoy it. Right off the bat, we'll do our little commit count thing. Over the weekend, we got another commit in the form of Chase Winovich, the linebacker out of Clairton, Pennsylvania. He's the 12th commit of this class. What does he bring to the table, Kyle?
With Chase Winovich, I see him as a guy who can probably by his sophomore year fill the role that Jake Ryan fills at Michigan now. Coming out of high school, you notice the same build, about 6'2", 6'3", but he's only about 215, 225 pounds right now, so he definitely has room to put on a little weight and muscle for him when he gets to college. So as a freshman, I wouldn't be surprised to see him redshirt. But by his sophomore year, I could definitely see him contending for that starting linebacker spot. Just from watching this film, a couple of things you instantly notice are his abilities to get the quarterback. I mean, in every play, pretty much, he's able to get burst through the line with a great jolt of speed, and he's like a little lightning bolt coming through there. But it's a pretty big lightning bolt on a football field. One thing that, besides size, that he needs to really improve on is just from watching this film, it's kind of a small clips, just bits and pieces. So, I mean, maybe it's more of an inference at this point that perhaps consistency and taking a few plays off. But other than that, I definitely see a lot of Jake Ryan in this game at this point in time.
Well, that's good. That's definitely what they need. He is a 3-star coming out right now, and thing about him, and kind of like Mo Ways, I watched their film and I can't believe they're only 3 stars. I mean, they do have impressive skill sets, and I think they do fill a need.
He's definitely a gem. I mean, Herbs was after him pretty hard, and whether you Ohio State fans want to admit it or not, he was a top priority from Meyer in this class, even with commitment to Hubbard and Berger. But it's just another guy. I believe it's the 8th commit we have that had an offer from Ohio. So Brady Holt's just doing some big things, and I see Winovich as the other gem in this class right now, along with Maurice Ways.
Yeah, the thing about him, well, about grabbing these Ohio kids, it just seems like right now that this staff is pretty much grabbing whoever they want. I mean, if a kid has interest in Michigan and he's high on their list, it seems like with this class that they are becoming a part of it. Do you have any idea why that is?
Oh, I mean, coming in, just even in Hope's first class, he really hit Ohio hard. And like we touched on last week, that the 10-year war athletes going to be coming up in this 2014 class really hits with Peppers. And obviously Winovich now, I mean, he wants to keep the best talent in the Midwest in the Midwest. And back in the heydays of Schembeckler and Carr, that whole team was kids from the Midwest that were just playmakers. I mean, although rankings went around then, they were kids who would just step in and make plays, just country strong and guys who can step in right away and contribute to the team.
Yeah, and you talk about Winovich and how he does remind you of Jake Ryan. He's a guy. I feel pretty good about the linebackers with this staff because I mean you look at Jake Ryan. Who was he before Greg Madison got a hold of him? Who was Desmond Morgan before Greg Madison got a hold of him? Who was James Ross before Greg Madison got a hold of him? It's pretty impressive what he's been able to do with these guys.
Exactly. I mean, the big thing I think just from the last couple of weeks, we've been talking. I've been in contact with Darian Owens and Jim Swain and even Kenny Young. I reached out to him last night. He's got some bona fide Michigan interests, which I'll touch on later in this show. You know, what they're really selling is Madison saying, you come here and I can make you the next Ray Lewis. And he's telling me because he can put in the league. And when Jake Ryan comes out, I wouldn't be surprised to see him a day one or even a day two draft pick. So, I mean, it really helps the fact that he had all that success in the NFL with the Ravens, and just the fact that he brought up, Ray Lewis and Charles Suggs. It's a big selling point to these kids, especially at such a young age.
Definitely. The next guy I wanted to hit on was Adoree Jackson. Do you have an update on his status right now?
Well, just for you guys, I imagine checking the site while you guys saw that was the update. I was fortunate enough to get on the phone with Adoree this past week before his track state finals, which he blew it away. I mean, he's possible Olympic contender in the long jump. He's just killing it. Like we've mentioned, multi-purpose athlete. Aside from his size, he's a guy who can make a play at any point in time, a lot like Jabril Peppers. Recently came out with top 10, and as he promised me, Michigan made the cut. He hopes to set the visit sometime soon, but I brought up to him the fact of the Hunger Bites 2 game, and I think we can all agree that that's going to be another big visit weekend like it was 2 years ago when we were under the lights against Notre Dame. But I feel like right now, if you guys check the prediction list, I had him in the class, and I still feel that way. It's going to come down to us, USC, and UCLA, in my eyes. But I feel like that Notre Dame visit could be what puts us over the top. And not to mention that, I feel like he won't leave Ann Arbor that day without being a Wolverine. He ends up being around a lot of the commits will be in, and it's looking like Deshaun Hand will be taking his visit. So, I mean, with that, you'll be walking with 2 of the other top 10 players in America, and then you're at 3, including Jabril Peppers. So, I mean, Adoree's definitely intrigued by playing with the guy, Jabril Peppers. I mean, we said earlier on the site this week that if the number 1 cornerback in the nation comes calling you, talking about joining the class, you're definitely going to listen.
I definitely would if I was in his shoes. A lot of services have him as the 3rd best. So, what are your thoughts on the fact that Michigan could land the number 1 in Hand? They've already landed number 2 in Peppers, and they could potentially land number 3 in Jackson.
It's monumental. I mean, coming in, Polk was somewhat of an unknown. We knew the basics. He was a Michigan man, and used to be a line coach under Lloyd Carr, but it's just crazy what these guys are doing. It doesn't help to have, in my eyes, the best defensive coordinator in the nation. One of the best recruiters in Greg Madison. Just the fact that he's saying, if you come here, I can build you up and I can get you in the NFL. And a lot of these kids coming from the different backgrounds see that as their way out of whether it be a bad neighborhood or a rough life growing up. But definitely having the top 3 players is something I've never seen done. I mean, you don't see Alabama doing that, and there's the god that is Nick Saban. So it definitely puts us in the national championship contention immediately, even with the equipment of Peppers. And if you're able to win one of the 2, either Hand or Jackson, I mean, you're right there. With you get Jackson, you've got your cornerback set for the next 3 or 4 years. Countis will be gone. I mean, I see him as an early NFL pick. If he comes back, recovered 100% this year. So it's really big for the program, and it's exciting for us to be covering it, and you fans should be excited as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people ask, we get the questions, how does Brady Hoke do it? He's never had the flashiest resumes. He's definitely a blue-collar type of coach. And, the answer I tend to give out is it's because he understands what the biggest draws to this university are. It's obviously, the Bo Schembechler days. It's definitely the big house. It's, all the history that goes along with the program, and he really makes kids understand and appreciate how special a place it is, and it really is special what he's gotten these kids to buy into, and obviously no one's going to go nuts over 8-5 last year, but I mean the BCS Bowl in his first year, no one saw that coming, and I think they have nowhere else to go but up from there.
Absolutely, it's crazy to me. I mean, it leaves me speechless. I mean, growing up, I always watched teams like Carr, Rose Bowl. So, I mean, we're getting back to that right now, and it just doesn't say enough about the university. And just from talking lot of the 2014 guys, and even 2015 is what you're starting on right now. They just continuously say that with this coaching staff and Coach Hope and Madison, what you see is what you get. There's no BS around it. They'll tell you exactly how it is, and when they tell you how you fit in, they definitely see you step in right away and make a contribution. And that's great for the kids. I mean, obviously a lot of them want that early playing time, and definitely with a guy like Peppers and Jackson McCann, that's definitely in their future if they're Wolverine.
Yeah, and, any of these kids we do talk to, you talk to most of the football guys. I have a little bit of background talking to some of these basketball guys, and it seems like the overwhelming response when you ask what is it about the university, it's the tradition. The tradition and how real these coaches are, both John Beilein and Brady Hoke respectively. So it's definitely, I won't say a renaissance, but it's nice to see things back to the way most Michigan fans are used to seeing it.
It's how it should be. There was a big cloud under Rich Rod, obviously, in his years here, but they're getting back to the ground and pound days with pro-style offense. And, I mean, even with Beilein last year, nearly had a Fab Five of sorts of Stauskas, McGarry, Robinson, all those guys. So it's good to see what they had last year and see what they're building on and what they're bringing in for the future.
Yes, definitely. And, it's interesting you brought up Rich Rod. He is a damn good football coach, and you can't deny that. What he did at West Virginia, obviously it was a struggle here, but it was, I feel like that was more of a panic move by the athletic department at that time. They didn't get Les Miles, they couldn't get their hands on the guys they wanted, and they just panicked and pulled the trigger. He was set up to fail from day one. It's a shame that it turned out the way it did, but things may not be as they are now if that didn't happen. So everything has its silver lining, I suppose.
And one big thing, obviously one of the very few pluses you can take away from the Rich Rod era was Nard Robinson. I mean, coming out of Deerfield Beach, he wasn't that often regarded, but he turned him into a guy who could say in sources on the Mount Rushmore Michigan football, a record breaker. And I mean, Rich Rod came in, and I think he felt a little bit of pressure. And obviously, it's Michigan; you expect big things. But just looking back on it, I don't see him as he was. I don't see him ready. I didn't see him ready at that point in time when he was hired, and I think my prediction was right. But a lot of these guys that they got now, the Gallons and the Robinsons from last year, they were Rich Rod guys. So he did bring in a few guys to make contributions, but at the same time, I felt like it was downhill from the beginning. And Michigan is that pro-style offense. It always has been, and I think that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. And like I said, we all feel good about the future. And obviously, if we didn't, our jobs with what we do would definitely be a whole lot more difficult, not having those silver linings there, and it's starting to pay off. So that's the good news out of all that. What I wanted to touch on was I had put a poll question out there early. Well, it was after our episode last week, and we're talking about the future of the basketball and the football programs. I asked, who do you think has the better chance at winning a conference championship in 2013-2014 seasons? Is it the football program or is it the basketball program? And I wanted to discuss that on here. The last poll results I had saw, it was about 60% in favor of the football team. Where do you fall in that debate?
I got to agree with the fans. I mean, looking at this Big Ten realignment, if all goes to sort, you could see yourself playing Ohio in back-to-back weeks for that Big Ten title.
Right.
Stepping in, you have Devin Garner, who, in my eyes, is the most underrated player in college football. I watched him in high school playing against our high school, Trenton, back when I was a freshman, and the kid's always just been a playmaker. And although he came in a bit raw, he's grown into sorts, and he's a quarterback of the future for now, and he's definitely able to teach great things to more Madison State if he hangs around for another year. But not to mention that, you got Derek Green, who is a bona fide playmaker immediately when he steps on the field. I could see him taking over that starting role from Fitz by the end of the year. You have Dejon Smith to add to that mix, so that's kind of a little three-headed monster in the tailback position. And, you got great line depth with Callis and Bars and Magnuson, all them, Braden. The trenches are set, and it really puts us back in that close battle thing. And, I still don't see them making a full transition this year, but with Gardner at the helm, I feel like anything's possible. What was he, 6-1, 6-2 down the stretch? He makes plays. He's a damn good arm. He can throw the ball hella far, but, with Gardner leading the team and the coaching staff, I wouldn't be surprised, and with how their schedule sets up for this year, we talked on that last night, there's no reason, at the least, they should have 9 wins, and this year, I think it's going to be down to them in Ohio, and it's going to be like that for many years, set up for that war. But this year, I see them winning the Big Ten title. No reason they can't run the table and go 11-1 and get to the Rose Bowl.
That should be the expectation, but with any good debate, and I might be a little bit biased here, but I do think it's the basketball team who has the better chance. Obviously, losing Trey Burke, some people think that their run through the tournament was an aberration. I don't think that's the case at all. I believe that Derek Walton is coming in, and he's a very similar player to Trey Burke. Not many holes in his games. He does a lot of things well. Zach Irvin, to me, is an upgrade over Tim Hardaway Jr. I believe, to me, he'll fill up a stat sheet more than Hardaway did, and he's way more consistent. Mitch McGary should take that next step this year. I think he has the potential to be a top 5 lottery pick next year in the draft. Glenn Robinson III's back. You've got a good core of bench players who have experience now, and Karis LeVert, Spike Albrecht, guys like that. I see them being the biggest threat to Michigan State in the Big Ten this year. I do believe Michigan State is the favorite, but if we're talking who has the better chance, I think that the Michigan Hoops team has the better chance. Do you have a rebuttal towards that?
Obviously this could be also a bit biased, but I feel like both teams, there's no reason they can't win the Big Ten titles. And
Absolutely.
The whole Trey Burke is so big. Yeah, he was a hell of a player, National Player of the Year. He swept all the awards. But I don't think a lot of people really know what they're doing with Derek Walton. And just from talking to him, I'm pretty good friends with him, watching his AU games, watching him do his high school games. He plays in the Detroit League. He plays all the top teams around the state. And I feel like at this point in time, coming to high school, he's more of he can space the ball out. He's a hell of a ball handler. And just from watching all his high school games, him growing up through the years, he's willing to step up in the pressure, and he knows how to find his teammates, but he also has that Trey Burke mentality where if his team needs him, he has the ability to take over the game. He's not scared to drive the hole. He's able to shoot from the perimeter. I mentioned this a long time ago, but by the end of his career, because from talking to his dad, a big thing with him is getting his 4-year degree and graduating with a degree. So after basketball, you have something to fall back on. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him not only hit Trey Burke standards, but leave a greater legacy in Trey Burke by the end of his college tenure.
Yes. Like I said, I do see the Trey Burke in his game. It's hard for me to make that, it's like you make that comparison to a National Player of the Year, a guy who's likely going to be a top 3 pick in the draft this year. It's like comparing guys to Charles Woodson. You can say they have the skill set, you can say that the tools are there, but that's such a high, such pressure to put a kid under coming into school. But I definitely think he has the ability to back that up. Now, the reason I don't think Michigan football has as good a chance is because we do have a little bit of a small sample size on Devin Gardner. We're not quite sure. Some people think they know what he is. They think he's a Heisman candidate. The last 2 games of the year, the Ohio State game and the game against South Carolina, I don't think he played that well. He certainly still had them in positions to win. The thing with him is he's going to need guys around him to help. And the receiving core, yeah, you've got Drew Dillio, you've got Jeremy Gallen, you've got Devin Funchess. I think they need a little more there. And next year when they'll get Drake Harris and whoever ends up filling up that last spot, you'll have Mo Ways in there too. I just think next year is Devin Gardner's year. Is there anything else? We're kind of running down on time here. Is there anything else you would like to hit on today?
One thing, obviously we got 2 new writers on staff, and Andrew Torres and Zach Merriman, and Andrew posted his first interview with the 2015 quarterback, Brett Bumbraw. So, I mean, I expect him to do big things. What he'll be doing for us is starting in the 2015 class, nailing out a bunch of interviews for us, and Zach just brings a multitude of different abilities to our staff. I mean, he's a great character guy. What he'll be doing is he'll be doing just a lot of the university analysis. Coming up tomorrow or possibly Wednesday, he'll throw an article up titled "Insert the Next Michigan Legend Here," and it kind of just talks about how we've grown to now expect this excellence from not only the coaching staff but also the players that we're bringing in both sports. I mean, it's quite an interesting piece. I hope you guys like it. Another thing, as we mentioned last week, but I don't remember if we touched on it, is that on June 15th, Anthony and I will be in attendance at the Sound Mind, Sound Body Camp
Yes.
in Southfield. I don't know about you, but for me, I see it as not only a big opportunity for our site, but just an interesting piece for you fans to get that free analysis that you wouldn't really find anywhere else, and hopefully we can get a little bit of video of one-on-ones and maybe even a few interviews with top players from 2014-2015 class. And one more thing I just wanted to touch on is more of a thank you to you guys. I mean, this last week has been kind of historic for us. I mean, last week I think we were up over 15,000 page views in a week. I mean, that's monumental to us just from starting in late weeks of January to now we've grown into somewhere where we're just nailing over 1,500, 2,000 pages a day. I mean, it's great, and I can't thank you guys enough for the support, and I feel like we've really grown as a staff and with our content, and we hope to bring it to you more each and every day, especially with our 2 new members. So just keep it locked at Legally Recruiting, and I hope you guys like what we're doing, and as always, feedback is greatly appreciated so we can continue to grow.
Yes.
One thing we got planned is that as of right now, me and Anthony are in a search for just looking for some help to redesign the website, give it a much more clean-cut look. And not to mention that we're looking to find some ways to engage in merchandising. I know Josh Henschke over at Chief HR did those wristbands, which I thought were pretty cool. And not to mention Coach Brown over the M Block did those T-shirts. So, I mean, we're looking to get into that. And, I mean,
Yeah, definitely want to give you guys something different that gives you like a piece of us. And just a message to people that have kind of been there from the beginning and that have given us feedback. Don't think that that's fallen by the wayside. A lot of what you've told us has played into how we've grown over the last month or so. I put a survey out, and it was almost a game changer for us. And so far, the feedback to what we've been putting out is we cannot ask for better fans or better people to write for. So just keep it coming. We're going to keep giving our best efforts to you. Just whatever we can do to make this a better experience for you, just let us know. We always respond to you. You guys know that. Just let it rip, and let's have fun with this. It's all about sharing a passion for Michigan basketball, Michigan football, Michigan anything. It's a special place with a special group of people, and we have a special staff here. So just keep doing what you're doing, and we will too. I think that's all the time we have for today. You can keep it locked in over at bleedbluerecruiting.com. Follow us on Twitter at @BBlueRecruiting. You can follow Kyle over at @bleedblue_Gill. And I actually just updated my Twitter handle. My new Twitter handle is @abroom92. So for Kyle Gill and myself and bleedbluerecruiting.com, this has been the June 4th installment of the Bleed Blue Recruiting Podcast. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy.